to enter a world of true crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know?
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. We're back. It was a short notice live stream today. And hey, Sadie's mama and Jackie and whoever else ends up coming over here. So I have to get it off my chest because it's bothering me. This case has been bothering me, and I keep hearing all this stuff. What's up, D Berlin? Yay! I'm on a rampage today about cases, and this one keeps bothering me, and I keep hearing like we want to give attention to Madeline Soto and Jenn Soto's behavior so much and put the cops under pressure that they arrest her or do something. Now, where is she? I'm hearing she's in a mental ward. I don't have paperwork that's confirmed, but I'm going to play something for you today it's like a bot, and I'm sure we can find other things. I'll play some things that are credible. And, I got to tell you, I don't think I said this. I think I was just telling Carly personally. I didn't say it out loud, but I had that affidavit, and it was 36 pages, I believe, of Stephen Soto. And I know some of you guys have read that. I could only get through the first 3 pages without making myself sick. Okay. Now I read that affidavit, and and a lot of people saw it. It's talking about, anal penetration and mouth and, mouth to whatever, mouth penetration. It literally is very graphic. Now I'm just saying that, but I'm not reading the whole, like they had 36 pages of super graphic content, and I didn't connect the two to you guys right now. I said these graphic words, but I'm not saying or showing. I contemplated on that, saying or showing exactly that, because that night I was thinking about it, and I had a freaking nightmare about it because I have a daughter that is 9 years old. So I couldn't even do it, y'all. Like that wasn't even real. So let's listen to this and see what you think about this, and let me know if anyone knows anything. Maybe we'll find out. Is she actually in a mental ward, and what did she know? I've been asking that the entire time. And then we're going to look at the behavior panel, and we're going to watch her again, and we're going to put the pressure on the cops, and hopefully she gets arrested, because this is bullshit. Check this out.
1 second that Jenn Soto had no idea what Stephen had been doing to Madeline since she was just 8 years old. There's just no way. I don't buy it. I think she most definitely needs to be arrested and charged, at the very least, for not protecting her daughter. There's no way a mother can be in the child's company every day and not notice something. There must have been massive red flags. It will not surprise me for a second if she was completely in on the whole thing, even the videotaping of it. Nothing would surprise me in this case. It's just one disturbing and sick case. Where is Jenn Soto? From what I'm hearing, she's checked herself into a mental health facility and has lawyered up. Is this a strategy to protect herself from legal charges? Is she going to plead insanity? Something is fishy. I came across this post on Facebook, and it made my blood run cold. This person claims that their friend works with Madeline's aunt. I don't know which aunt, but this particular aunt claims that Jenn knew what was going on. They would sleep in the same bed, she would watch and sometimes join in. This is so disturbing, just horrific. I feel sick just reading this post. It continues to say that Stephen had a second phone with all the pictures and videos on. Apparently the autopsy of Madeline won't be on the news or anything, and the mom definitely had something to do with it. Can you imagine that? It's just sickening to even think about. I do think there's a reason as to why Stephen hasn't been charged yet. Something big is coming, and Madeline will get justice.
All right, y'all. So I'm going
I
to
don't believe
stop sharing that. We need to stop that. And thank you, Evil Exist. You're putting this out there, and I'm assuming that you're putting this out there because you want us to share this with everybody. And so I hope evil exists, whether he creeps you out, crime and conspiracy. I don't even know what evil exists, like who it is or what, or if it's, these people doing the bots. I don't care. It got the message across what I wanted to say. And I've been saying this from the beginning. What is Jenn Soto guilty of? At the least, not paying attention to what was going on and being culpable for letting that man be in the room with her and go in her bedroom at night or during the day, whatever it may be. Emma Stone. So yeah, we want to thank Evil Exists for that clip just because it's getting awareness out. And there's all kinds of stuff. Let me put this up here because hearing she was pregnant, and that's the autopsy. I don't even think that was performed yet or released. So I have heard from more credible sources about Jenn Soto being in a mental ward, and that's where she is. She's lawyered up, and I've heard this before. I'm not trying to spread rumors, anybody, at all, but I've heard of people, women particularly, doing this in cases where they need to be charged for something, and then they check themselves into a mental ward. So that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, definitely neglecting your daughter in every which way. If you were to see that affidavit that I saw, and I have it, but after seeing it, I don't want you guys to hear it from me and think it's okay to hear that, because it literally gave me the worst nightmares. But I want to bring attention to Jenn Soto and her behavior and put pressure on the cops to arrest her for something. Yeah, you're right, Carly. She can run, but she can't hide. And I hear that she changed her Facebook and she did all this, and she changed her Facebook name, and she's just out there living, but now she checked into a mentor. And I don't know what's going on with her. I'm not trying to spread rumors, but she shouldn't even be out in the freedom. They should be really close to where she is. They should be looking at her much more than they are if they're not, but we haven't heard about it. So I'm just trying to keep this thing going. I'm trying to find out more. I want to know more, and I want to keep it in the spotlight so that we know. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. She's on the run too, but a mental hospital is kind of like being on the run, everybody. And you know why? Because you can check yourself into a mental hospital, and legally they can't arrest you because you're not in your right mind, but you're in the care of the facility. There's a whole bunch of things. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what state it's in, but it's happened before, and people do it, and they do it to get out of the culpability of the case. So I want to play a little bit. And Vinnie Politan, I love him. He gets so heated too. I want to just play a little bit of his. I'm not going to play the whole thing. He's talking about when it happened, and then we're going to go to the behavior panel, and we're going to get it. We're going to watch it again so we can keep it out there. And do you think that she's fit for a mental ward, or is she fit for jail? Is she really crazy? And everyone keeps trying to give her that pass. Literally every person that doesn't think she's culpable is saying, "Oh, I heard has mental issues, or she was on Xanax." So fucking what? It doesn't matter. I've taken Xanax in the past, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't hurt my parenting skills at all, and I would never ever do that. So hello to everybody that's joined. We're gonna play this. Miranda, Misty Free Spirit, Miracle 2, Jackie, Crime and Conspiracies, all of you. I love you. Thank you. We got to keep this thing going for Madeline Soto. Stephen Stearns hasn't even been arrested yet. And yeah, we're early in the case, and she can run, but she can't hide. Absolutely. And we don't want to let her hide. We want everyone to see this video. I have a good audience of 18 to 25, 26 to 35 or 36. And then I have older people that are watching this too. It goes all the way up to, I don't know, 60 or something. So there's a lot of people that are watching, and a lot of my videos have been watched thousands of times. So let's keep this out there. Let's keep this in the spotlight. Let's do what we can to put pressure. Everybody, please. Let's listen, because I like how Vinny gets really heated about it. He's trying to figure out when this happened. And I'm not going to play the whole thing because I have my own thoughts, but I just love how mad he gets too. And I'm sure he has kids of his own. Let's listen to what he says about when he thinks it happened.
It's a big issue. It's a big issue. When did it happen? When did it happen? And you've got to create some sort of a timeline associated with all of this. That's the key to the whole thing. It's the key to the whole thing. Establishing a timeline, and that's what investigators are working on. But the ultimate question, how precise can you get based upon what we know now? I don't know how precise you can get. It's going to be difficult to be 100% precise. But you've got to really shrink the timeline. And what you do know.
Now, everybody, that's why I wanted to show this, because I wanted you to see the connection. I wanted you to hear his thoughts as well. And we're not going to solve this when it happened. And even when they do the autopsy or we get the results, we're not going to know the exact time because of the conditions of the weather. We will find out if she's pregnant. Trust me, we will find out. No, it doesn't matter if she's a minor or whatever. Hello, Sadie's mama. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's all going to come out at some point. It's Florida. Florida is very transparent, but I want you to see the connections. And this is why I remember here. I want you to hear Vinny's passion, and I want you to see the connection of Jennifer Soto, the real dad. Everybody keeps asking, where is the real dad? Well, guess what? You have some answers tonight, and you're going to see how they're connected. And just keep this out there, please. Everybody, keep this going. If it's Vinny, if it's a behavior panel, share it. Tell people about it. If you live in Florida, then call it in, call something in, tell them they need to do something. I don't know, whatever you got to do. We can't let her get away with just not knowing about it. Or let's just keep the pressure on her. If she's out and she's living her best life, let's hope not.
You know what you don't know. What you do know from statements made by the mother publicly, she said she spoke to her the night before. Is that true? Did she speak to her the night before? Because there's also a report that on February 26th, the following morning, that she saw her getting changed at 8 o'clock. But when you look at the investigators' timeline, they believe that's too late in this timeline of that day and what happened to Madeline. That they believed it was already over.
Yeah, Tyler absolutely has nothing to do with it, but people want to know where her biological dad is. Everybody's been asking, where is Maddie's biological dad? Why is this happening? Where is he in jail? Is he whatever? Well, you're going to see here how it's connected, who he is and what. And yeah, just hear a little bit about the passion that goes on with Vinnie Politan. He does this after hours. He's running his stream, and so it seems every night he's doing this case. It's hitting home for him too. So yeah, he's just kind of working it out with us and himself.
For her by 8:19. Actually by 7:35, because 7:35 is when he's seen tossing things into the dumpster, which I believe is near the back exit of this development, gated community they live in. So working off the 7:35 time, and then you back it up to mom saying she spoke to her the night before about the party. Well, if what she said was not true about seeing her getting changed at 8 o'clock, can we trust what she is saying about the night before? Right? My initial timeline was based upon her statements. But if there's a question about her statements, that becomes a major problem in all of this. A very major problem. If she's not providing accurate information about getting changed for school at 8 o'clock.
Do you see that picture and the person in the glasses? Does that look like an adult, or does that look like a child? Look closely if you can. Anyway, you'll see it up for a while. Take a look at that picture in the glasses and see if it looks like Jenn Soto, or does it look like a kid?
Clock. Can you trust what she is saying about the night before in the conversation? Or is that when it happens? A couple things you're going to look at. You're going to talk to the people like you see perhaps in the background of this video. You talk to these people about, oh, okay, she was at the party. Did she wear this outfit at the whole party? Was that the last thing she was wearing at the party? Did she get changed at any point? What was she wearing? How was she acting? What time did you leave? When did the party end? Where was mom? Where was Stefan? Who else was there? You got to, I think through witness testimony, you've got to get that timeline established. I don't know what, if any, cameras in the neighborhood might reveal something inside the Venetian Bay villages, either ring cameras from neighbors, the front entrance, if they have a camera there. Although I believe it's much more likely he was using the back exit and entrance to come in and out to avoid the guards that are there in the front. And there's the back. There's no guards there. Might be a camera though. We know there's a camera near the dumpster. So that's part of it. Now, questions, and I'm reading comments as I'm going. You've got to talk with the ME,
I'm going to go further to the
time of death. Is there anything from the autopsy that might indicate something?
Hold on. Let's listen to this real quick.
Now, there was no talk about her having breakfast. So when's her last meal? Can the ME establish that?
This
be
part,
able to figure that out. That
this
could be
hits home
important.
too.
Again, putting together a more precise timeline. Now, the evidence that's not been revealed that obviously they're working on is cell phone, and not just what's recorded on cell phones, but where cell phones are and any activity on them, and any communication or any movement with those cell phones. What do they tell us? How about her cell phone? She's 13 years old. How active is she on her cell phone? Who does she talk to? What games does she play? What social media accounts does she go?
Yeah, Vinny's really passionate about this case. Now, I don't know if he's going to show that any bigger, but I want you to see. And the reason we came here is to watch the beginning and see if you think that's where she is. The beginning of the video about her knowing and people saying that the Jenn Soto was letting little Maddie sleep in the same bed with him, and what her culpability was she involved in it? Where is she? I think there's more questions right now than answers to this, and there will be answers soon, everybody, because the autopsy is done right away. But yeah, look at this. Hopefully they showed a little bigger, and then we'll get to what the whole behavior panel says. And do you think she should be in a mental ward? Do you think, I mean, they don't factor in the drug part, but do you really think that she went crazy after this? Because she sure didn't seem so to me. Or is she hiding out? What, I mean, we're gonna have more questions than answers. I hate to say that, but even Vinny's trying to work it out, and he probably knows more than we all do, more than I do.
You go on. When does that activity end? What is the final time of proof of life? What is, and when I say proof of life outside of anyone who's inside the home, right? And I say that because of mom's alleged inaccurate.
All right, I'm not gonna watch him go through his comments, but I
just have some.
That's okay. That's all right. Let's see.
To get
I don't wanna...
7:35 already. A backpack, laptop being discarded. Whoa. When did this all happen? When did this happen?
All right, I'm going to stop sharing it now. If you guys want to watch him, you could see what he has to say. But basically, I just want to see what his thoughts are. He's really passionate about it. You guys, he's trying to hit 1 million subscribers on his Facebook. So I guess Facebook, he likes to stream there. Yeah, I probably wasn't at the party, but it was late. I think it was later that night, not the morning. Yeah, go hit up Vinny on Facebook. He likes Facebook, and he wants 1 million subscribers. If he hasn't already hit that, then he definitely wants to. So I'm going to sit here with you all, and whoever wants to hang out with me can hang out with me and watch the body language experts. And that's what I'm doing tonight. Instead of doing laundry or chores or dishes right now, guess what? I took care of my daughter. She's playing a new video game that she got. She's in the other room there. She's happy. She's as healthy as we could be right now. With our roof situation going on, we're doing good. And I'm going to hang out with you guys, and we're going to go over this, talk about it, and watch it together. So if you have somewhere else to be, then I'll see you soon. But otherwise, let's this is what we're doing. This was last minute me putting this together, and it's heating me that she's not arrested by now.
Today we're going to talk about Madeline Soto. She went missing a few days ago, and now she's been found. Greg, tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
Yeah, this interview, or these interviews, were conducted by local TV, and this is the mother of this young woman who is missing, 13-year-old who is missing, and the boyfriend of the mother before the little girl's body was found.
Okay. So the first question is if I can have your first, your last name, and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JenniferSoto.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she?
So I know we've already watched this, but we haven't watched it with 4 behavior panel experts, and I want to see what they think. Now, I'm the same way. Everybody is saying, they think the mother was still involved somehow, but to what extent? And that's what's bothering me. And does she know? And maybe she doesn't know she's dead here, but she had to have. She's still culpable. She should have been watching her daughter and known something. She says she's close to her. All right, let's go. You guys, we've seen this, but we're gonna watch it again.
Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family's a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry. That should be it. Sorry about that.
All right, I'll go first on this one. Right out of the gate, it looks like she's got some kind of neurological disorder, which she doesn't. She's just jiggling her leg. I used to do that on here, and people would say, "What's wrong with Scott?" Because when I jiggle my leg, it looked like I was doing this. Looked like I had some kind of disease. But I didn't. I was like, I didn't even realize it until I watched me doing it. So that's what we're seeing with her. And it's good we're seeing this, because as stress rises, the more that foot or that leg jiggles, and we see her start jiggling even more. So this is going to be, as we go through these videos, keep an eye on that. And remember, the more stressed she becomes, the more she jiggles her leg. And we can see her stress level go through the dang roof here at some point.
Guess what, you guys? This is such a different opinion than Dr. G explained. So you have to stay here and watch this with me if you can, or just listen to it in your headphones, because these guys, there's 4 different doctors here that have different body language, like degree in different types of body language and so forth, and they're all experts, and this is just nailing it more than Dr. G. He didn't take into account a lot of things, and it was only 15 minutes, but this has got much more detail to it. So I would love for you guys to watch this with me.
Some parts. And in this one as well, we're seeing compressed lips. We're seeing all the great, cues of stress that we look for and teach about. And this is a great example of that. Now, when they start calling the dog and she stops and starts smiling, this tells us so much, because not only are we seeing things that we know cause stress, we're not seeing a couple of things. We're not seeing tears. We're not seeing the stress or concern we should be seeing in there. We're seeing what looks to me like fear most of the time. So you could say, oh, she's fearful. What's the matter? What's wrong with her daughter? Where is she? Is she going to be okay? All that. I don't think that's I don't think that's the fear she's looking for, that we're looking for at this point, or what we're seeing. Nope. So when they finally finish calling the dog and things start quietening down, she quits smiling. She automatically she resets and gets back into that fake sadness she's got on her face. She doesn't even know how to do that. And then when the question starts again, that leg jiggling starts, and she starts jumping around again.
We love you,
so let's keep in mind as we go through this. Again, I want to stress, watch the shaking, because it makes all the difference in the world as far as letting you know what's happening from a perspective of stress on a human as they're going through questioning like this. And there's a reason that she's feeling that stressed. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so same as you, interested first off, is it something about the neurology? Could it be stimming of some sort? And then we get, during her answers, very little eye contact. Her eyes go up. Again, could be something with a neurotype. It is certainly out of the ordinary in this kind of interview situation to not get direct contact, eye contact with the interviewer. So why do the eyes disappear up at this point? Again, could be neurotype, but let's see. The shaking is interesting because, as you're saying, Scott, when the dog is called, everything stops. Just everything disappears. So that makes me think, to your point, this should go up even further under stress. Around the dog, everything goes. The voice change. We heard of the voice at the start giving her name and the letters involved with her name, and how clear and strong the voice is. When she starts into the interview, that all disappears. So that's really interesting. It makes me think that all of this could be some kind of effect that's being done on purpose. I mean, I don't know for sure at this point, first video in, but it does make me wonder, how are you able to be in this heightened emotional situation and then it stop immediately? Interesting.
Drugs or no drugs?
Oh, by the way, she says we had dropped her off. We had dropped her off.
Yeah,
let's see what happens to that. Greg, what do you got on this one?
First, guys, is a parrot. That's a parrot talking in the background. It's saying whatever it's heard over and over and over. The reason she knows how long it's going to last is birds are creatures of habit, and they do the same thing over and over and over. So she's waiting for the parrot to finish. Is the reason.
I thought it was one of them calling the dog.
No, it's a parrot. Parrot going, food, food.
Where did you hear about that? How do you know that?
I just know. I know birds. I've been around birds. I had parrots around my house when I was younger. My ex-wife had a pet shop and all that kind of stuff, so I'm accustomed to them, and they're repetitious in what they do. So you get to the point where you can predict what they're going to do. That's my best guess, is it's a parrot in the background, and that's what's happening. So let's talk for a minute about grief, because a lot of people are going to say grief. Scott, I posted over in the chat a picture of her face in a still at 39 seconds. If that's not terror, I don't know what is.
Yes.
It is not what I expect in this situation. I know people are going to say grief does weird things. Grief does do weird things. It slows your cadence typically. And the reason it slows your cadence is because your brain is running on two channels. It's running on trying to answer the question you're dealing with and thinking about what's going on. On occasion, grief will.
Do you see how much more they're nailing this than Dr. G? And I love Dr. G Explains for a quick 15-minute clip. When you have some time, you get a different perspective. You're checking out the behavior, body language, eyes. But these guys go so much deeper, and they're definitely calling it what I was saying. I don't know what happened right now. I hope you guys can see me, but my screen just blacked out. So let's hope that I'm still on camera. Maybe I shouldn't have stopped it. Ooh. If I have to jump off, I'll come right back, everybody. Hold on. All right. Let's I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but I can't see my screen. So I'm going to come right back on here. Sorry about that, everybody. That was yeah, that was just a glitch on my side. I'm figuring it out in my new space here, and we're gonna get right back to it right now. That was my bad. It totally just like glitched out on me, but luckily it let me back in. So I hope it didn't pause for too long and cause anybody to. Yeah, it's okay. I'm still bringing awareness, and this is what I'm doing right now, and that's what happened. So let's keep going. I'm going to go right back to the behavior panel, and you guys can still finish cooking and whatever you're doing, and I'll bring it right back where I left off. I'm still looking in comments. Yeah, you guys could probably see me, but it blacked out and then it glitched for me. Act goofy in the interview of seriousness. Yeah, right. Of course. Doesn't that always happen? You know what it is? It's the universe telling you to bring some light into it. But really, I'm upset about this. Yeah, this is not good. Behavior panel. Now I got to go back to where I was. So thank you for being, patient with me here. And it could be worse, right? It could have got some goofy in the background. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna finish this. All right, let's go.
The speed, it will drive you to agitated. When it does, it's for one reason. It's help, help, help. It's not protection of self. I see agitation and single focus at protection and answering the right question. That ain't healthy. That ain't good. My kid is missing. Everything she answers is very specific to that. I'm not going to go into a whole lot other than to say there are a handful of things missing. The mucous membrane's involvement is missing. She's not cried. She isn't crying. There's no inflamed nostrils. There's none of that you would associate with this. There's that look of terror, that look of when one of the questions is asked. And then if you want to pay attention to her eyes, I want you to start paying attention now, because we always talk about eye movement meaning something. When I ask you to recall something, you go to a place, whether it's visual recall or other, this is kind of dirty and doesn't have enough clarity to be able to say it's visual or what, right. But she's starting to establish a place she's going for information. I would poke on that a lot. I poke on it a whole lot. When she says there's a lot of shifting of pronouns here, Mark, I agree with you. And she said, we had dropped her off close to the school. Now, we always talk about request for approval being forehead up. And that could mean, hey, do you get me? Are you tracking? In this case, it very clearly is, do you believe me? Because her voice lilts up at the very end and her forehead's up. This is going to be an interesting one. From here, she's got a lot of cleanup for me if I'm going to believe anything she's saying. Chase, what do you got?
Today's video is sponsored by Aura. I'm excited for this because I've been using this app for over 2 years. If you didn't know how much private information is out there on the internet about you, when you first see it, it's pretty shocking and a little disturbing.
When you hop on and you don't log on to the right account, y'all. So now I'm ready. Fast day.
I want to keep something that's potentially threatening to me in my view. So I'm not going to close them all the way. So this is a partial closure of eyelids. And no emotions really visible here until there's the smile that we just talked about. It's a smile of self-management, self-perception. And maybe she's thinking the news is going to cut this part out. She goes right back to a sad demeanor after that smile again. And there's no mention of the daughter's name here, which is very unusual for innocent people.
This is what bothers me.
Good.
So the first question is if I can have your first, your last name, and spell them both out for me.
Pay attention.
Jennifer Soto, JenniferSoto.
Mother. Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is
how panicked I am.
Is she safe?
Nope.
Is she okay?
She knows.
But we're all a wreck. My entire family's a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We're gonna get caught.
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry.
Not funny. I think she did think they were going to cut it out, everybody. That she was going to get a second take.
Sorry about that.
What the fuck? Ugh.
We dropped her off at school, close to school.
Let's start over.
She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whatever you feel comfortable sharing, that we'll put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it.
What has the school said? Have you get in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked.
What'd the school say? Yes. Yeah. I've watched this interview so many times now, and every time I see something, and it just validates what I'm saying. No matter what naysayers say, I can't unsee what I'm already seeing.
Their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras is too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school.
Is that what happened, really? You think?
But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD. Her memory, she's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives don't have her phone. But this isn't normal behavior now.
I had a buddy, Gary Pachoza. Greg, you've met Gary, and he had a bird. Had a one of those gray, what do they call it?
African grays, yeah.
African gray. Yeah. And this thing would call his dog. It would whistle for him. And then when it would imitate him being on the phone. When he was talking on the phone, and this bird sounded like him on the dang phone, man. It was unbelievable. It was almost scary because it was like a tape recorder almost, because he would be mumbling, but it was what the bird could hear. And the next dream was he was on the phone in the other room. So you could hear him talking and he go, and laugh like him, the whole thing, man. It was bizarre. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, that bird was actually a kind of a godsend because it forced her to re-ramp her story. And you can see her ramp as opposed to, I ask you a question about what happened. What do you expect the person to do? You expect them to go right into the story. She doesn't. She does a deep breath. She eye blocks, and she didn't go into what happened. This is body language of preparation to ensure I deliver the story. There's also sorrow and concern when she's talking about not sure what she's allowed to talk about, and she does a left eye accessing, again, that thing we saw where her eyes are going up in her head and to the left. Okay, let's keep an eye and see, is that where she goes to create or where she goes for memory? Because we get a really damn good example of where she goes for memory a little bit later, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be different. So it's really interesting to watch. That bounce is going pretty good now, and she's mouth grooming. We always say, as you stress and the inside of your mouth gets drier and drier, we'll groom inside of our mouths to pull away mucus and that kind of thing. And the other thing is the adrenal cycle.
Wow.
Once you start dumping all these chemicals into your system from fight or flight, your body needs air to burn those, and you can see it ramping up. Her mouth is open. There's really, really a lot of oddity here. She does one shoulder shrug, and she does a lip compression when she says something about she never made it. This is, look, we always talk about what kind of a person how you talk to a person in interview or interrogation. If I were talking to this person in interview or interrogation, you get very soft. You need to be very soft with this person. Reach out, touch her, talk to her, and say, help us help you. Let me know what you know and what you don't know. You get more information doing that than you do by asking really hard questions when someone's missing a kid. There's a couple of times in here. And
now, I agree with him so much. When I was watching this interview, I was thinking that the interviewer was smart, right? They had a game plan before they went in, and they knew to ask her questions, just really soft questions, just to get a feel for what she was thinking and what was going on with her and what she was going to say and her body language. We've all learned this from Chris Watts, Scott Peterson, those guys are narcissists. I don't know what she is at this point. She's a bad mom and much more. But yeah, there had to have been texts on the daughter's phone back and forth. This guy seems like he was not only essaying her, well, I'm going to just say sexually assaulting her, because I've already used the bad words, whatever. I don't like that. But he was sexually assaulting her, but he was also, it almost seemed like he was in love with her. So how her mom didn't know, there's no way. And that whole phone story was something that he told her. When you see the interview with him behind her, she keeps referring to that, what he was telling her to say. You can tell she's trying to remember a story. So let's keep watching. I have a lot to say, but I want you to hear what they have to say, because I don't have any clinical licenses in anything except running my mouth.
And there's a very narrow band of time in here that she looks very believable and right where she should be. She's got real helplessness. We're just waiting, and her eyes go down the right. She's got some lip compression. Her brow tips go up in sorrow. That's all the right body language. She also only uses present tense. Her agitation has dropped. Those are really much better signs for her than the first video. So I'll leave this video hopeful that I'm going to see a mother who has questions but not involved as we move through this. Right now, this tail end of this video is a lot better than what we saw in video one in the beginning of this one. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you. And we're seeing that shaking, maybe let's call it a baseline, until the questions are asked again. Then she's kind of locked down. And when harder questions are asked, she locks down that shaking behavior. Now we're seeing more of an upward tone. And we haven't seen that with any factual questions, like when she called the police or what her name was. Then Greg was talking about mouth grooming. We're also seeing a lip retraction. When the lips go past the barrier of the teeth, this is typically a need for reassurance. And this is happening at the moment that she's saying she never made it. And right at this moment when they're saying, waiting to hear anything else from the school, she's saying that there's a hard single shoulder shrug, prolonged eyebrow raise, kind of seeking approval, or do you believe me? Like Greg said in the first video, more lip retraction. And one thing that's happening here is that there's a parent sharing all of the reasons her daughter cannot be found. And this, I think, is highly unusual. And it presents a huge hurdle for me to think that she's wanting to inspire people or help or inspire hope, that there's a way that this can be done. When somebody introduces complexities and challenges like this, I've never seen someone do it who's purely innocent. She's going through all the lists. She left her phone at home. She's got ADHD. The cameras aren't good enough to see anything. There's no way to track her. And still, we're not seeing a mention of Madeline's name at all. And one question the reporter asks is this normal behavior? And this behavior we're seeing here is not normal at all in the mother here. Granted, there's some unusual stuff. So we'll take a look at a few more clips after this one here. Mark, what do you got?
So I'm the same with you. That blame that she's putting on Madeline around ADHD and forgetfulness is an odd maneuver in this particular situation. I don't like the look of that. Not that I'm against blaming people for stuff. It's just not right for this situation where you're wanting the kid to be found, or you should be wanting the kid to be found, just as you say, Chase. You'd want to be eliminating those things and having more possibility of that person being found, not putting barriers in the way. You're exactly right. Again, we have it. We dropped her off. Second time, we dropped her off. Okay, very clear around that. We dropped her off. Okay, good. You said it twice. Now we know. Now we know you both dropped her off. To your point, Greg, yes, she's breathing, and we get some of these bigger intakes, but I'm not getting the rapid breath of something like panic or concern. And she said earlier that the feeling she had was of I can't breathe. And yet we've got her breathing. She's not having to catch up with that breathing. It's not the panic. So her breathing doesn't match what she's told us is the feeling that she has right now, which I would suggest you saying, oh, I can't breathe. That's a sense of panic. And I'm not seeing panicked breathing at this point. So that's of interest to me. So second video in, I'm possibly more concerned even than I was in the first place. Scott, what do you think?
All right. When he brings up the detectives again, that's when her leg starts shaking. Or I think it's the first time he brings it up, her leg starts shaking again, and we see her doing that whole bobbing around thing that's happening.
Don't you wish the police could use this in court, everybody? This is just speculation, and I don't want to be the speculation channel that's making stuff up. I'm saying, is it mental ward behavior? I don't even know if she's in a mental ward. So I just want you guys to know and hear me and hear that what I'm saying is just this urgency for them to get the mom and not let her get away with it. I definitely don't want to speculate. I don't know if she was involved, but I do know at the very least she's involved in not knowing what was going on for all of those years with her and Stephen Stearns. So, but this is just validating what I feel and I've felt the whole time, and all of you are feeling because you're listening to this. They're just nailing it.
And again, this still doesn't sound like a mother who's stressed that her child is missing and could possibly still be alive, and she's worried about what's going on with her. None of that at all. Then more stress mouth with that question as well, or what I call stress mouth. That's just disappearing lips, when your lips disappear literally. And I think Chase, you made a great point, because they go back into her, up under her teeth. She's so stressed at this point. Her voice is calm and normal. It doesn't really change much. It stays almost. There are a couple of cases here in a few minutes where we get to fading facts, which we'll talk about in a minute. But in this situation, her voice stays the same. Her cadence stays the same. The volume stays the same. When you're talking about something this horrific, and as you talk about it, you're realizing the horror of what may have happened. You don't talk normally. You get all worked up. We've seen it 1,000 times on here. When they're being honest, because she doesn't do anything. She doesn't change much at all. This sounds to me like it's rehearsed, and it sounds like she's playing this with her boyfriend, which we're going to see a couple of videos of him in a few minutes. This sounds like she's ready for this. That's why she keeps saying we dropped him off. So that brings a whole other situation into this as well. And knowing now that we know now that they've found her, Madeline, and she was, obviously she wasn't alive anymore. So there's a lot going on with this, but I think this sounds to me, it sounds like something she was prepared for. When you're talking to somebody in interrogation, you want to make sure one person's story is different than the other person's story. Same story, but you got to make sure they word it differently and things are said differently. So let's pay attention to that when this guy shows up. Now, the phone being left at the house, she wouldn't have started with, well, she has ADHD and she's really forgetful, so she left her phone at the house when she left. No, you said she left her phone at the house. We can't track her. She has ADHD. That's the second part that you think about, because everything is up front. All the details, all the major things are up front, and your brain would.
I just put Carly on the spot. She was backstage, but I put her on the screen, so maybe she'll have something to say. If not, she could just chill there with me, but we're going to listen to them. But Carly's
I'm
on.
literally just eating dinner, so I'm going to just mute my mic.
Just mute your mic. Go for it and listen. Thank you.
When you're thinking about what's going on with the situation, you don't go to the details of why first and then say she's left her phone. That's a red flag for me as well. And that single shoulder shrug pointing toward her chin, when she's talking about ADHD, that makes me think she's bringing that up. I don't believe the kid had that either, because of the way the mother's acting. I think they're adding that, and that's why she left her phone. That's why her phone wasn't pinging around where they found her, or when she was with somebody else. Well, we know who did it. So then I'll leave it there. There's so much more, and I'm just be covering what you guys cover.
This is what bothers me.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Tell us what you told the detectives.
We'll put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it.
What has the school said? Have you been in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras that's too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked.
Excuse after excuse, y'all. You heard that before. Excuse after excuse from the experts. And just keep listening. She's just making excuses why she can't be found and why we can't see her and why we can't call her cell phone. Everything just no.
I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD. Her memory, she's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives now have her phone. But this isn't normal behavior now.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. Yeah.
13?
She's 13 years old. Yes.
13, Madeline. What are you thinking right now?
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. this isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
We're still seeing some bizarre behavior here. And keep in mind, as we're saying this, none of us are saying that she was involved directly. And that if someone does have guilty knowledge, they could be covering up that guilty knowledge out of self-preservation because they've been threatened, because something else has been threatened to be taken away. So we don't know that yet. And maybe y'all will comment on what we see. Maybe there's some threats going on, or it's just self-preservation. So we'll see.
That's why I'm playing this too, because I think the more people that see this and the more people that have information, the more people that comment. I'm getting lots of comments on my videos after I stream it live. They come back and they say things and they email me. So I'm just trying to keep the awareness going, and you can listen to what the experts think. It's not factual and cops don't use this, but it's bringing awareness. And it validates what my thoughts were. So,
but this shaking still continuing. We see it during the things we see the shaking during the parts that are provable and most likely solid facts. We see the shaking go away anytime somebody's asking details about Madeline going missing. I'm always uneasy personally when I see more fear than grief or sadness. And I'm even more uneasy when I see that fear surrounding the story of the disappearance of the child. And to add to this, when I see that a reporter has to remind somebody to mention the child's name and remind them also that they're supposed to talk about what they think happened and that they want the child to come back home. The reporter's having to kind of prod and prompt this. It's a lot more concerning. I developed a guide, if y'all remember this, for the media on how to ask questions and what questions to ask during these interviews like this. This guide has literally everything that you would need word for word and has prompts to get somebody like this to talk a lot more. Innocent people can be less talkative too, and it's helpful to get them to start talking as well. So I'll link that down there. If you guys are all right with that, I'll throw it in the video description. Scott, what do you got?
All right. After the reporter says, "What?"
That's actually really cool that he knows that. And you guys should all go check out the behavior panel after. They do great videos. There's 4 of them, so they're really long. This one has both in there, and I don't have time. We're focusing on Jen. We already know Stefan is guilty, but yeah, go check it. Check their channel out. That's really amazing. And that's the smartest thing they could do is have them answer or ask questions, because a lot of people that go on TV or on the news after are the people that did it. I've said that so many times before.
What was the last conversation you two had? Again, this is fear. It's not the classic expression of fear, but I always say fear looks like a calm surprise because your eyes are open, your mouth is open, and your nostrils flare a little bit because you're waiting to see what's going to happen. You've been shocked, and then what's happened? It's almost like a lengthened amount of shock, and it just lasts for a little while. So, and I asked Melinda Ozell about this as well. She's a big micro expression specialist, and she said, yes, that's what she's seen as well. We talked about some other things, details of it, but we both agreed that was fear. So yeah, Chase, that's spot on. So when she answers again, that leg goes jiggling and she starts bouncing around like she's on one of those old covered wagons in a Western movie or something. It's a lot there. So she's getting a lot of stress from that question. And then this is where the fading facts come in at the end of that second answer, when she starts talking, as she's speaking. When we talk about fading facts, we're talking about someone who is giving you information that's supposed to be a correct answer or the answer. And as they get quieter toward the end, it's because their brain's saying, we shouldn't be doing this. In other words, we shouldn't be doing this, man. This is not true. So they'll get quieter as they go and down toward the end. So listen for that. We'll hear that a few more times in here because that's classic. That's not one cue shows you that someone's lying or telling the truth. But this is when you start grouping these things together, you can start making decisions about what you're seeing. If you have a whole lot of things that may suggest deception, then you can feel pretty good about saying that's probably deception, because there's no way to know for sure by one cue that someone is being honest or telling you the truth. That mouth chewing adapter shows up where she's chewing on her mouth and she's doing mouth grooming again, then stress mouth and the leg goes up. This is just everything she's dealing with here is causing stress. Every question causes stress. Everything she's asked to talk about causes stress. Every time they go even just this deep into it, that leg starts jiggling and she starts jumping around. So anyway, so I think something's up here. I think there's a lot more going on than I think anybody is aware of at this point outside of this investigation so far anyway. But then again, we hear when she says, I don't know what to think. We hear fading facts there as well. Mark, is that all of us?
Yeah. So yeah, fear is an interesting expression. You're right. It's very similar to surprise. And often, when you're looking at those emotions, it's the one that people will conflate. And I think the reason for that is, in my belief and understanding, is that fear has to be very, very subtle, because you don't want to show the predator that you're fearful, because it will trigger an attack. It has to be subtle enough that the people around you would detect the fear, but not so big that anything, outside of that close distance would see the fear. I'm going to go even further than fear, though I think you're absolutely right, Scott, and obviously Melinda is absolutely correct, but I'm going to go for its terror. I think we're seeing terror in the face, and I'll say in the next video why I think it's, well, extreme fear. It's fear, but at an extreme, and it's still subtle because the signal has to be just for the people around, not big enough for the predator to see. Now, she has a theory, which is someone took her. So that's.
Now, keep in mind, she could be playing that card as well, and she could have checked herself into a mental hospital and given that story to the police. So there's so many possibilities and little hidden gems in these videos of what could be happening, but we don't actually know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist channel. I want you to see the facts, and these guys know what they're talking about.
That's good that she has a theory, but then she changes that. And she says, I don't know what to think. And that's, I think, the thing that you were getting fading facts on there, Scott. So that's interesting. She's got a theory, and that's a plus point for her. And then the theory gets taken away with fading facts. So she's backpedaling on it a little bit. And then we get a new piece, a new story. I wasn't the one who took her to school. Well, last two videos, we dropped her off, and now she's not any part of it. The story is changing significantly here. Why might that be? There's a lot going on in this third one. Is that all of us or Greg?
Nope, me still.
Yeah, Greg.
So I got the same thing, Mark. I think it is terror. I think it's a mild version of terror, but I think she's shocked and terrified by the question. Shouldn't be. What's the last thing you said to your daughter? Seems like a normal question. But then that agitation comes back, and we can all recognize shock, fear, terror in faces because, as you guys said, they're more subtle, but we all can recognize them. That's Darwin started that long ago. She does a lack of certainty with that single shoulder shrug, and then she goes to hesitant cadence, really hesitant, almost loss of verbal fluency at I told her good night. Well, hell, you should remember the last thing you said to somebody like that. That's awkward for me. Yeah, and that was it. What? You say that after you say the last words you said to her, and here we're back to the truth needs no support, but lies love a crutch. She's going to continue to qualify. I wasn't the one who took her, Mark. She says, now we have a first person singular declaration of innocence. Now I'm going to drop back to video 2, where I saw things that look real. I saw things that like hopelessness and fear and sadness and that lip compression. And what did she say then? We are waiting. Let's keep that in mind. The only time I saw anything genuine was we are waiting. And there was a lot of fear and that kind of thing around it. Now she's saying, I didn't do it. It was my partner. And that kind of dropped off. And then, but yeah, a lip compression. There's a whole cluster of red flags right in there. This alone, this piece right here, going back And looking at where she was showing sorrow about we are waiting now makes me concerned, now makes me think. And Chase, to your point, could it be that she has a suspicion that her partner did something? Could it be that she knows her partner did something? Could it be she was involved? We can't tell that. What we can tell is there's some behavior shift that indicates something is guarded and something is shielding. And again, I'm going to mention, I don't see any grief or sorrow except for writing that we are waiting piece. I don't see snotty nose. I don't see teary eyes. I don't see grief muscle. I don't see concern in places I expected. It's just not here. Maybe she's just suspicious, but that's a hell of a lot of disclaiming right in there. And then she's back to internal voice at I don't know what to think and back to that terror. Guys, this one starts to look worse and worse. One little glimmer of hope in the second video now starts to look like something I'm going to look for indicators that there's some kind of collusion going on. That's all I got.
All right, so we're going to get into that in just a second. And this is my video, so I'm going to interrupt. I wanted to get as much through it as I can before I talk, but they're nailing it for what I was thinking, and for probably 2/3 of the population are thinking. Others are just blaming it on he was grooming the mom as well. She didn't know, giving her all these excuses. Maybe she has some kind of mental health problems or whatever excuses they're giving her. I don't buy it at all. Let's go.
Scott, back with his contempt.
This is what bothers me.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. Yeah.
13?
She's 13 years old. Yes.
13, Madeline?
Madeline.
What are you thinking right now?
He had to say her name. Damn it. I heard that, but I didn't notice.
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. This isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
Friends, the friends' parents, you've contacted and went through every single person?
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek, rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church.
I know what you guys are thinking. Why isn't she doing it? Why does she have people doing it? She already knows. She knows there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to motivate herself to get out there and do any of that. So she's just sitting there. She's doing an interview. But I've seen this video so many times, and I just needed that validation. And it'll be even more validated when she gets arrested, and she will, because they're looking through the devices. They're going to find something, and if she's not arrested, she'll be implicated in something. There's no doubt about it.
I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything. My family they're going all out right now. Yeah.
I know as a mother, a lot is going on in your brain.
So much
to bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So she's really
Okay, before we get into the next part about what they got, yes, I was going to come on and do a breaking news. Elijah's blanket was confirmed to be found, but guess what? It wasn't found today. It had already been found before, and the cops just didn't tell us. So, yes, I was going to do that, but there wasn't a whole bunch of information, and cops are letting things out very slow. So, yes, they found Elijah Vu's blanket. It was confirmed to be his. I don't know what testing they had to do on it, but it wasn't like they found it today, but it was found. They just let that out today. So, yeah, they didn't want to say anything, and I know it's because they're trying to get as much information, but they probably should have said that from the beginning. So breaking news, not so breaking news, everything's breaking news right now if you haven't heard about it. So that's where I'm coming from.
really boiling the air down now if you can't miss. She's inhaling more heavily, her mouth's open, all that bouncing and terror in her face. And now she's added batter on deck. She's rubbing her thighs. I don't expect all of that when a person is feeling grief. I just don't. Grief, go back to the McCanns, one you guys beat us up about all the time in the comments, where the McCanns were lifeless and you said that was an indicator that they had done something wrong. No, that's an indicator of grief and their brain is running out of energy and that kind of thing. There is not agitation. Now, there is a part of grief that causes people to go from denial to anger, which she's not in anger. She's not in denial as far as we can tell. It feels like she's just in the moment. She's guarding again. There's a nonsense answer that really does mean something if you listen to her words, but her sentence structure is just really poor. When she talks about people have asked me to volunteer if there is one, what she means is people have called and said, if there is a search, I'd volunteer. Or can you help us organize one? And. Well, here's question number one when somebody says that he missed. Did you organize a search? Are you part of a search? And if she says no, then the obvious why question. There's eye movement now, deviation from what she was doing earlier for facts. When she was doing facts earlier, now she's talking about these people, her eyes are going back to the opposite side of her brain. So something's going on here. Can't tell what until we get further in and we get a clean question. But let's pay attention to this. I don't know where this is almost telegraphed. Chase, you say it most of the time. Where's my baby? Let's get out there. Any of you, if you're missing a dog, would be, where's my baby? Let's go get this, much less a human being. And she's just been handed the question, what would you like us to do? They didn't ask that, but she says people have asked, they've volunteered, but she still doesn't bring it up. She still doesn't say, where's my baby? There's still no grief. There's still no agitation there. The agitation is all about protection and about protection of facts. Every fact that she's bleeding is one that's being pulled out of her. Now, does that mean she did something? No, but it means this is a hell of a lot of red flags that would certainly get my attention talking to her, and I would start pulling and pulling and pulling. And when I say pulling, I'd be real friendly about it until I wasn't, until there's a reason to have some kind of case. Because remember, you're just interviewing this person and you're trying to get to facts. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So I'm interested in the blink rate here because it seems super
what
low.
Blink rate?
Yeah, blink rate. Yeah. Well, I think I counted one. I think I did count one. So we can, we can give a one on that. Chase, I think you're right in suggesting that often it's the case of a low blink rate is hyperfocus. So let's take that as let's go with that idea because I think it's a good idea. So then we go, okay, so what is she focused on? What is she so hyper focused on here? Now we've got this big eyebrow raise with that as well. Now talking about terror and fear, there are some indicators in fear. Fear, you want to let a lot of information in there. You want your blink rate to be low, so you're getting that information in. Also, the eyebrows are a good way to signal to other people in the room that there's a threat in the room. There's something, there's a predator around. So high focus because of no blink rate, eyebrows up, potentially, could be approval, but potentially not approval, could be signaling to others there's a risk in the room, there's a predator in the room right now. I don't know whether there's somebody else in the room at the same time as this interview or in the certainly a parrot around and about, and something has disturbed Parrot, Greg, it sounds like you know parrots better than I do. But maybe something else in the house has disturbed the parrot, and the parrot wants feeding, or maybe the parrot just shouts out like that at a certain time of the day. I would be interested. What else is happening? What else is in the room? Who else is in the room or in the vicinity at the time? Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, we know now that she uses this single shrug as a social acceptance gesture, since we saw it really pronounced when she was mentioning that Madeline has ADHD. So she's socializing the issue here in this clip of having spoken to everyone. So she's introducing more difficulty here and complexity again, introducing it. So saying they've literally contacted everyone possible. There's no more people that can be contacted, which insinuates nothing more can be done. She's also adding here that people have searched for her. She talks about her family going all out, which is very different from asking for help. In many ways, this can be seen as something that's lessening the need for any assistance or help from people. And I'm surprised by this point. There's not one mention of her name unless it was directly asked of her, and no mention of getting Madeline back home. And essentially she's saying that all that can be done is either happening or has already happened. And at this point, I would assume she most likely, if I was doing this interview, obviously I'm not in charge of the questions, but based on this, I would assume she very likely knows the location or disposition of Madeline. And I would say that in likelihood, that's a high likelihood. Scott, what do you got?
I agree with you 100%. And I'll tell you what I think at the end of this thing, because it's, anyway. So I agree with you guys. And Greg, going back to your point, but for all of us, if somebody we loved was missing, they wouldn't be able to interview us because
these guys, you could tell they're getting upset just talking about this, and it's the same with me. I'm just sitting here getting heated as I listen to this. My blood pressure is rising. So yeah, thanks for hanging in here with me, everybody, for the new people, for everybody that's going to come share. Thank you.
You'd be out. So where's Mark? I don't know. He left. He says he's going hunting for his kid. Where's Jay? Then we'd be gone. There'd be no interview. They'd be trying to find us, but that's what would be happening. Exactly. You don't sit there and say, well, I think your shoulder shrug went up at that first part because she really doesn't. I think it scares her. I think you're right, Chase. I think that part where at the beginning there where she says, where he's asking about the people are coming by and stuff, and that shoulder goes up. No, man. She doesn't want to answer that. She's unsure, but she's really insecure about that. We're seeing a whole lot of insecurity here, man. We're seeing somebody who's afraid. We're seeing fear. Why would we be seeing fear other than being afraid for your daughter, Madeline, who is never named in this? Never, not once.
Exactly.
So let's think about that for a second. Why would she be doing that? Why would she be pushing away from everything? Why isn't she out hunting for that child? Why isn't she trying to find people to help her hunt for that child? Why isn't she saying, look, hang on just a second, if they do get her for an interview, and say, look, here's what she looks like. Bang, here's a picture. Please go out and look. I think that bit about the ADHD, I think that's not true as well. I don't think that's true. I think that's why we're seeing that shoulder go up and that chin go toward the shoulder. I don't think the kid has that. I could be wrong. She could have been diagnosed or whatever. I don't think she has it. And her blink rate, like you were saying, Mark, it's almost gone here. Going back to your point, Chase, we know that when someone's afraid of something, your brain goes, we need to keep an eye on that. So your eyes get a little bit wider and you don't blink. And when you do blink, they don't blink completely most of the time. So I think there's a whole lot going on around here in this situation. We're seeing stress mouth. She's thinking about not getting in trouble. That's what she's thinking about. That's what it's looking like to me so far. So, and Greg, to your part about collusion, you damn straight. I'm with you on that. I think there's a lot going on here that hasn't been brought up yet, maybe in the investigation, probably. I'm not sure. All right, we good?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good lean, Greg. Mark?
They're checking each other's behaviors now, but you can tell as it goes on and they're doing this, they're getting very upset, as I am. I'm just going to say after this, after I'm done sitting down, I'm going to probably get up and burn some energy off because it makes me so mad. But I wanted to share it with you all, and validate what the behavior panel is saying. And Dr. G was more like a clinical, how her eyes were moving and her lips, but it wasn't the nitty gritty of what he thought and why she was doing certain things. And it was just a much shorter, quick video that made me think, just things that make you go, but I know that somehow she's involved. So let's see how much more this has. We'll keep going. It's not too much longer.
It's very pro.
Well,
base that wasn't much.
I'm just warming up.
I was playing it cool. That's what I do.
This is what bothers me.
Friends, the friends' parents, you've contacted and went through every single person?
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek, rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church. I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything. My family they're going all out right now.
What about you? She hasn't
I know as a mother,
twice.
a lot is going on in your brain.
So much
to bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
Hold on. Before we even go there, if I was having an interview, I wouldn't be talking about my daughter ever. You're never, ever, ever going to hear me talk about my daughter and a K9 team looking for her when it's not even 24 hours later. This woman makes me so mad and my blood freaking boil. She went to that. She went to the canine dog looking for her before anything else. That's what she was worried about, everybody. That's telling you what she was worried about as she was talking. They were letting her freely talk, and then they try to direct her to say certain things or however they were directed to do it. They know what they're doing. They have certain questions. Trust me, they prepare their questions. They don't just go on this interview without knowing. And she went there with the canine dog. That makes me mad. It makes me sick.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one week and maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip my tongue.
We're done. We checked everywhere. Sorry. That's it.
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie.
Oh, well.
Black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it.
And you said this is not like her.
Not at all.
To even run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
All right, Mark, what do you got?
God damn.
Yeah, it's interesting. He asks this question, and she kind of sees him off with that narrowed eyes of like, why are you even going down that route? We've done everything. I don't know why she's seeing him off this territory. Now, there could be all kinds of reasons of why this terror and why this concern of like, don't even investigate that, because there could be fear of more violence towards her, towards other children, family members, or maybe she's involved in some way. I don't know where to go on this one at the moment. I don't have the information as yet on that. But there's certainly something going on. There's certainly something going on, because you would not see that person off the territory of further investigation with that look of almost incredulity as to why you even bothering me with this and going down this route, unless it was maybe a police officer and you're going, look, come on, man, let's get on with this. Let's get out there and look. You're bothersome. You're an idiot. Let's go look.
Nailed it. And
now she has to remember what she was wearing. The eyes go to locate what she was wearing. By now, in my mind, that should be a list. That should be a memorized list. Here's what she looked. Here's her name. Here's what she looks like. I don't even know whether she's got, at the moment, I don't know whether she has blonde hair or dark hair or auburn hair. I don't know. I don't know what color her eyes are. I don't know what kind of shaped face she's got. So there's been no description of, how tall. There's no description of the child at this point. I don't know why. And the list of what she's wearing should be rote, because she should have said it so many times to so many people that you wouldn't need to search your memory for it. In my mind, I could be wrong. We might be able to drag up a whole bunch of stuff where that isn't true, but it's outside of my expectations of the behavior given the circumstances at this point. Scott, where do you go on this one?
All right. After that first question, the leg jiggling is back to a 10. That means her stress is way up again, because it's going up and down, because you get worn out after a little while of that stuff. You get all worked up and then you try to relax a minute, and then it goes back to when there's something else that triggers it, the stress comes back. Now, I've talked about this before. And for example, when people say button or button for button, drives me up the wall. And I found one more that drives me up the wall that I hear every now and then. And it's one of those.
He's about to say it, but that drives me up the wall too. My son says button, and it doesn't drive me up the wall, just it's funny, but I always say, you mean a button? And he says, my button. It's cute. He's 24. Anyway, I thought I'd lighten up the mood for a minute, because this video is making me mad too, but we're almost done.
Linguistic viruses that go around. And when this guy says tongue, he says tongue. That interviewer, I can't stand it. And then he says, what is she wearing? He says, what is she wearing? But I'll leave that right there. So anyway, when he asked what Madeline was wearing last, she swallows, and then she starts giving this prepared answer that starts with, she was last seen. That's dispatcher talk. That's not the normal vernacular for normal walking around everyday people. That's what the dispatcher says. She was last seen wearing this, as she's giving the information to whoever's doing the search, or when the search starts, or when they're looking for whoever it is, or when the police officers show up to the scene. So that's odd as well. So she's thought about that. So there's something going on there. And then after that, she's the fading facts on the end when she says, that's about it. See, that's about it. It goes really quiet. So something's up here as well. She's something's not right here. Something's not right in here. Now
that's about it. Be quiet, everybody.
The leg jiggling goes back to full on with every question. It settles down while she's answering. And then when the question comes back, she starts bouncing around again. And at the very end, we see what I call, and what I coined, monkey mouth. That's when your mouth makes a circle and goes. We saw that with Lance Armstrong. If you watch him, he does it. There's very few times I've seen it, but that's when your stress is at the most. They'll do that. And I searched to give examples of it on here. The only one I had was the Lance Armstrong, but go look at that. He does it one time. I think it's during his interview. Maybe it was with Oprah. But that's when someone is stressed through the wazoo, man. That's when they start making monkey mouth. And she definitely had it there. So she's really worried about this. Okay, that's all I got.
There's two of us left to go.
There's going to be a whole bunch of monkeys super upset with you, going, don't do that.
Jason and I still haven't gone.
Don't do that.
Okay,
I mean, like, those gorillas do. Those gorillas do, and the chimps, but us monkeys, no, we never. They
don't do such a change it to gorilla mouth?
I don't know.
Me at the school, but we did check if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken.
She's asking a question.
We checked all of my friend's house.
Did we check? We checked.
I think we checked everywhere I could think of. Honestly,
I think so.
What do you think?
Honestly.
Oh gosh, I just had to tip my tongue. What was she wearing?
Together.
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport bag.
Okay, I think we analyzed her a whole bunch. I think that was the last of the last that I could take, and I've seen this video a bunch of times. So we're at an hour and 31 minutes. We've looked every which way we can. I think we all agree on the same thing. She's culpable for something. And everybody's thank you all for still being here. I'm seeing other stuff come in. It looks like somebody with a mother of another little child that was our baby Jalen's monster mom, in time to hear her cries through the ring cam from the judge. Maybe she got life out of this. I'm seeing it in the chat. I know that's a different case. I'll focus on Madeline Soto. I'm just trying to bring myself from the being upset about this case. It's got me at a level 10. And that's why I came on today, because I was already having one of those days and I just wanted to get this out there with this video. And I wanted you to know that the police are looking at her and spread the word. Carly, do you have anything to say about anything? Are you done eating? Can you hear me back there? Your thing cut in and out. But so you guys can see her. You guys have probably seen the videos over and over, and we've heard a lot of different things going on. Carly dropped out of here. Thanks for hanging out and modding for me. I appreciate that, Carly. Please bring awareness to this. Stay on the case. I know that there's lots of other cases coming, but hang in there with this. And like a lot of other people say, if you see something, say something. In this case, if somebody would have just saw something and said something, if her mom, even if the least, let's say she's not lying and she's just a weirdo and she's on all kinds of whatever she's on, whatever she's doing, if she'd have I know she saw something, if she'd have said something. So I don't want to eat my words later and then they come back and they say, oh, whatever is happening. They're going to find out with the text messages, you guys. It's been going on for years. She is possibly in a mental ward, but is this mental ward behavior? I don't think so. I think we've validated it every which way from Sunday. So it looks like everybody is probably at 8:30 or 9:30. I'm here in California. I think it's time for me to go take care of my daughter and let me do my thing. And thank you all for watching and commenting. And yeah, sick to my stomach about this. I'm literally like at my max with this woman, and but not Madeline Soto. Sorry about that, Carly. The call kicked you out. Did you want to come back on and say anything? I brought you back.
Really have much to say, but like when I use this on my phone, as soon as I get a phone call, gone. I can't hear a damn thing. No, I was just gonna talk about the behavior panel. I love them so much, but could you imagine having them as like your father or your husband? Oh my god.
Yes, I could, and they'd be calling you out left and right on everything.
I would give up.
But they're so credible though, right? I mean, they nailed it, don't you think?
Oh yeah, they're so good. I love all the cases they do.
I do too. They're long, and so I can't cover all of it because we're on there for 3 hours, but I think they nailed exactly what we were all thinking. And I just kind of wanted to validate that. So thank you, Carly, for modding, and I don't want to keep you, everybody else.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks everybody for showing up.
Yes, thank you all for showing up. It was like 20 minutes notice. I appreciate it, you guys. And it's the crime crew. I love all of you, every single one of you, the day one-er people. We're going to have to just call day ones. I think that's better, Carly. All right, everybody. I'm going to peace out here and throw up my outro. Have a good night and go do something good for yourself. Have a good one.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?